The top stories: African countries need to stand in unison to have permanent seat at the United Nations Security Council. And Ethiopian Airlines CEO said execution of single Africa air transport will expand Ethiopian Airlines destinations. Hello and thank you for joining us. You're watching Addis News Hour with the news. I'm Tabitha John. Stay with us. The Ethiopian Minister of Education, Professor Birhanu Nega, urges academics to exert their relentless efforts in conducting research geared towards nation-building efforts of the country. The Minister of Peace, Binnal Fandualam, also reiterates scholars are duty-bound to solve the problems of their people prudently. The remarks came at a consultative forum being underway, centering on enhancement of nation-building in the country. Daniel Kasahun has more.
Ethiopia is undergoing a series of reforms since the advent of the reformist government in 2018, and then the current government is shouldering daunting socio-economic and political responsibilities, of which is maintaining the unity and integrity of the country towards the aspired strong nation building in the country. In this regard, the contribution of Ethiopian scholars takes the prime position by producing problem-solving researches for their people. Taking this into consideration, the Minister of Education, Professor Birhanu Nega, urges academics to exert their relentless efforts in conducting researches geared towards nation-building efforts of the country.
The harmony of Ethiopia's multinational population requires careful and wiser leadership. The mindsets of the populations have to be well managed to stand in unison for the unity and integrity of Ethiopia. What's expected from the scholars is to provide logical and feasible research outcomes which can help the nation foresee the future of the country in a better manner. The aspired nation-building process can be realized if scholars do their level best in collaboration with respective bodies.
The Minister of Peace, Binnal Fandualam, also reiterates scholars are duty-bound to solve problems of their people in a prudent manner.
The academics are responsible for producing problem-solving research to help Ethiopia achieve its aspired transformation. Scholars have to contribute their level best for the nation-building process for the country to flourish. You have the leadership responsibility to your people. Much more is expected of you at this critical time. I urge you to pay the ultimate sacrifice for the demands of your nation.
Currently, Ethiopia is striving hard to realize the national dialogue in all parts of the region to make candid consultative meetings from grassroots level, and the contribution of the scholars would have paramount importance to achieve the set targets.
The push for more equitable representation in the Security Council continues beyond Africa. Africa has been asking for a permanent seat in the United Nations Security Council for many years, but has not yet got a response. In a recent meeting of the Council, this question of having permanent seats went beyond Africans and was raised by the Indian Foreign Minister. Senior lecturer at Tanzania University said Indian proposal for Africa to have permanent seats in the Security Council is indeed commendable. Goshu Melissa reports.
The continent of more than 1.3 billion people is spreading the quest for a fair representation in the United Nations Security Council. The fact that Africa doesn't have a permanent seat in this council, where African issues are often tabled for discussions, has cast serious doubts on the sincerity of the council. As a result, for many years, the leaders of the continent have repeatedly pressed ahead with the need for a fundamental reform. This time around, other like-minded members of the council are backing them, India being at the forefront. A few days ago, Indian Foreign Minister at the United Nations Security Council echoed the need to reform the United Nations Security Council. Talking to ATV, senior lecturer at St. Augustine University of Tanzania, Nugusi Andre, said the need for permanent seat is taking shape thanks to relentless efforts by Africans and friends of Africa.
Indian, what they raise it, if the right thing, But the reaction, what I hear, the reaction, I think they didn't understand the question of the Indians. The question is not how we add from Western country to become more strong. The question is how we add from this country. If they are not there, how it is credible United Nations system.
The scholar said that unless the Security Council is organized in a way that represents Africa and Latin America, it finds itself in a precarious situation to effectively deal with and resolve problems facing the globe.
It is a time to add from Africa and Latin America. And the agenda, even what they are discussing, has to be digested by the continent first. How you bring agenda. And this one, I think, has a problem. It is not for the world. We say United Nations, but it is not true. It is not a United Nations. It's better to say United Few Countries.
The scholar added that any decision passed in a council dominated by a few countries is unfair.
Deciding only 5 countries having a permanent seat, I think that is a completely wrong approach. Staying for long until today without raising even, that is a big question. Why not? How? It is for all countries, but how they can decide without the other country is not participating?
Ngozi stressed that on the need for African countries to stand in unison and work together with friendly nations in the Security Council to have permanent seats.
The Ethiopian National Dialogue Commission and the Federal Government Universities Consultative Forum signed a Memorandum of Understanding to work together. The MOU is to emphasize the importance of the role and participation of scholars in supporting the Commission's work with research papers. It was also stated that it is convenient for the Ethiopian National Dialogue Commission to continue the consultation work by opening offices at universities in the country. The agreement signed between the Ethiopian National Dialogue Commission and the Federal Universities Forum is expected to ease the work of the Commission.
The 70th Global
It's expected that
Ethiopia is Ethiopians
Our news is always aired on Monday to Friday on 11 a.m. and 9 p.m. and also on Saturday and Sunday on 9 p.m. Make sure to follow us.
Chinese ambassador to Ethiopia Zhao Zhiyuan discussed with Ethiopian Investment Commissioner Lelise Neme on how to enhance partnership between Ethiopia and China. Extending gratitude to the Chinese government and embassy for their continued support, Commissioner Neme explained about mandate of Ethiopian Investment Commission and continuous support in creating a conducive environment for foreign investments in Ethiopia. Zhao also highlighted the strategic relevance of EIC for strengthening the bilateral political and economic partnership of Ethiopia and China. CEO of Ethiopian Airlines Group says execution of single Africa air transport will expand Ethiopian Airlines destinations. It is remembered that 17 African countries, including Ethiopia, have agreed to introduce single Africa air transport market. The agreement is set to help African airlines to have unlimited continental flight destinations. Shagao Yamata has more from ENA.
The execution of single Africa air transport, which is at the inception level, will help to open the continent's air transport market for competition and benefits the Ethiopian Airlines for its success, according to the Ethiopian Airlines Chief Executive Officer. The CEO of Ethiopian Airlines Group, Mesfin Taso, said the Ethiopian Airlines will greatly expand its flight destinations and create huge market opportunity in the air transport and aviation sector when single Africa air transport put in place.
Under the leadership of the AU, we are undertaking numerous activities to integrate African countries with political, economic and social relations. Among these, SAT, Single Africa Air Transport, marketing the aviation and air transport industry can be mentioned.
Africa Air Transport Market, SAT.
The CEO also indicated that the Single Africa Air Transport system will avoid some countries' unwillingness to give flight permission and make African countries easier to fly to any country on the continent.
When the African countries implement SAT, the Ethiopian Airlines will fly to any country in a continent without any flight restrictions. One of the challenges to our airlines is that some countries do not give us flight permissions and give us limited permits. This really hinders the growth of our airlines and even the benefit of their countries. So when SAT put in place, Ethiopian Airlines will increase the frequency of air flight and will expand additional flight destinations.
Tassor further pointed out that the Ethiopian Airlines will be beneficiary when SAT put in place.
SAT is significant not only in the aviation sector but also for the exchange of goods and economic integration among African countries. This will help our airlines, and the agreement promotes free movement of people in a continent. Our airlines are the leading service provider in this regard, so we will get income.
According to the Ethiopian news agency, the Ethiopian Airlines announced that 39 new airplanes are expected to begin providing service soon.
The Ethiopia-Djibouti Standard Gauge Railway said it is working to expedite regional integration. Approached by ETV, Dr. Abdi Zennebe, CEO of the railway, underlined that the railway is playing a significant role in creating room for socio-economic regional integration as well as boosting multifaceted developments. Tagasar Nisa sat with him. Take a look.
The 752-kilometer Ethiopia-Djibouti Standard Gauge Railway, also known as the Addis Ababa-Djibouti Railway, is the first transboundary railway on the African continent, which is said to enable Ethiopia to save 2.4 billion birr logistics expenditure in the past year, and the railway also ensures to cut the time and cost of shipments of vehicles and perishable goods. Ethiopia-Djibouti Railway is said to be doing its part to expediting regional integration, strengthening the ties between Ethiopia and Djibouti.
In terms of integration, this is one of the reasons, actually, why this company is created. This company is unique in a number of ways in the Horn of Africa. Horn of African countries in the past used to be known in terms of animosity. You know, the enemy of my enemy is my friend, and the conflict-ridden part. But this is now changing. The paradigm shift that Ethiopia is experiencing is bringing about a greater cooperation among the nations of the region. And from EDR perspective, from the Ethiopia-Djibouti Railway perspective, we think of three layers of integration. One, at the political level, at highest level, intergovernmental integration, where the two states at higher level discuss about this company as their own company, jointly owned company. And this will bring about a conducive environment for further discussions. So it plays a very important role on this level, both at the intergovernmental level, economic integration level, as well as the regionalization level, where it brings about societal relations. And also we hope to increase the societal integration through developing a number of new ventures like high-end, tourist-focused transportation service, and also encouraging other elements of passenger services to bring about a further integration cooperation between the two states.
And the railway line manifests the country's successful journey towards multifaceted development.
In a number of ways, actually, it comes to start with the Ethiopian side, for instance. As you know, the Eastern Corridor has a lot of attractive sites for people who are interested in culture, geography, and other things. So the Harar area and all the Dreddawa area is a very important destination for domestic tourism. More to that, a number of Ethiopians now have an interest to go to the Red Sea and see the ports and the different new developments that are emerging that attracts the tourists in Djibouti side. And of course, we have a large number of tourists coming from Djibouti as well, especially in the hot season, to Dreddawa. And we see, we observed it and we have conducted a study that this is a very conducive environment to create this business and to think about this business very seriously. So we hope to increase and prepare our coaches, these dining coaches and other coaches to the different categories of customers. And we have started discussing with the major hotel operators from the Ethiopian side and some from the Djibouti side, so that we will also collaborate with the other people in the hospitality industry, in the service industry, so that we can bring about this important sector to benefit from the railway.
Reporting to ETV English, Tegesser Nisa.
Kindness is giving hope to those who think they are left alone, oppressed and suffered a lot due to several reasons in this world.
At that time when Binyam met me, I had a place to stay, but I was entertaining suicidal thoughts at that time.
We don't even smell anything, it's so clean. It's a nice atmosphere, yeah.
Dear viewers, you're still watching Explore Ethiopia. And right now, as I am speaking, I am in Macedonia, an organization that provides various services for the elderly and mentally ill people.
We have engineers, so many kinds of people in Macedonia.
The best thing about this place is you have peace of mind. Peace of mind, and what else you need if you have a peace of mind,
Welcome back in business news. 3 indigenous companies have signed an agreement with Industrial Parks Development Corporation to enter and develop industrial parks. The companies that signed the deal are Gumsa Trading Manufacturing, Sujiliana Doyo Manufacturing, and Impact Manufacturing. The CEO of Industrial Parks Development Corporation, Aklilu Taddese, said that the role of companies entering industrial parks is important to strengthen local investment, to be competitive at the international level, and to replace imported products locally. During the occasion, the CEO pointed out that there are internationally competitive foreign manufacturing companies in various parks, adding from these organizations, the indigenous companies will gain experience in the technology and manufacturing sector. It was also learned that the managers and investors of the companies confirmed that they will work hard to create job opportunities for many citizens and become competitive in the sector by using the opportunity. South Korean ambassador to Ethiopia says the peace agreement signed between the government of Ethiopia and TPLF will encourage Korean companies to invest in Ethiopia. Talking to Ethiopian news agency, Ambassador Kang Seok-hee said that South Korea and Ethiopia have been enjoying special friendship over the last several decades. Jerusalem Bezaha presents Ethiopian agency's news file.
Approached by Ethiopian news agency, South Korean ambassador to Ethiopia, Kang Seok-hee, stated that his embassy has been trying to create a platform to South Korean business people to invest in Ethiopia.
Korean companies which succeed in doing business in Ethiopia, they are textile garment industry, and also there are construction company which do construct work here in Ethiopia. But there are many opportunities are open to the market in Ethiopia. And in particular this year, we see new development in terms of peace process in the northern part of this country. And as the COVID-19 situation comes down, as the peace process is making progress, I think we can have more opportunity where Korean companies look to Ethiopia as a new market.
The ambassador also stressed the paramount need to focus on business and regional as well as global issues in order to further strengthen the partnership and friendship between the two countries.
It is important to continue to help Ethiopia achieve sustainable development with new technology, innovation, which Korea has a strong impact to the world. So we like to share our development experience with Ethiopia to move forward with our idea of how facilitating the development process of Ethiopia with our technological innovations.
Ambassador Seoki said the countries have extensive development program of cooperation project and added that South Korea will continue to implement the ongoing activities delayed by COVID-19 and the conflict in the north. The annual trade volume between South Korea and Ethiopia stands at just $200 million USD, and investment is also about $40 million USD, the ambassador stated. The 60th anniversary of the establishment of Ethiopia and South Korea diplomatic relations will mark next year.
The first batch of 5,000 Somali men sent to train as soldiers in Eritrea returned home for the fight against Al-Shabaab. Families without news of their relatives in the army protested several times last year during the presidency of Farmajo. Kasaun Chane has the following account from African News.
Somalia's defense minister announced the return of the first batch of 5,000 small troops sent to train in Eritrea. It was during a press conference outside of the Ministry of Information in Mogadishu that the minister gave more details. Training of the soldiers was to end last year, but their return was delayed by the former president Farmajo.
Today, I would like to share with you good news that is important for the Somali people and a meaningful point in the fight against Al-Shabaab. The first batch of Somali soldiers trained in Eritrea have returned to the country, and the remaining will come back in the coming days. Those trained soldiers will be part of the fight against the Al-Shabaab group.
Terrorist group Al-Shabaab was forced out of the country's main urban centers around 10 years ago, but continued to wage war against Somalia's government and civilians. Al-Qaeda linked has also carried out attacks in Kenya and is accused of targeting Ethiopia.
In the last 6 months, we have liberated more territories from the group in some regions of the country, especially in the Hirshabelle and Galmudug states.
Though President Hassan Sheikh Mohammed visited the troops in Eritrea last July, their return is set to end months of worrying man families who feared they might have been recruited under false pretense.
You're watching Addis News Hour, and here's a reminder of the stories making headlines. African countries need to stand in unison to have permanent seats at the United Nations Security Council. And Ethiopian Airlines CEO said execution of single Africa air transport will expand Ethiopian Airlines destinations. And that's all we had for now. I'm Tabitha John. Many thanks for watching. Have a good night and take care.